Okay then guys, here we go. Not a brilliant start. A lot of wheel spin. Oh, we're already getting bumped. Can we go into turn one? Oh, got into it with Verstappen. And again, we're getting bumped. What's going on, guys? My name is Martinio and welcome to Formula One 2018. It's finally here. I've managed to get it a day early and I've really been looking forward to this game. I'm a huge fan of Formula One. It's by far and away my most, the racing series I watch the most. I love single seaters, and Formula One is the absolute for me when it comes to viewing racing. And yeah, I've been a big fan of the Codemasters Formula One games. I've played every single one. The first one was on PSP in 2009, and I really enjoyed that. And I've played every one since, and they've continually got better and better and better, and they've improved and improved and improved. And hopefully this year is no exception. From the early reviews and gameplay footage I've seen, it looks a lot better. I think at times last season in certain races it looked maybe a little bit washed out. It seems to have got a lot better contrast to it. It looks a lot crisper in my opinion. Still on a little bit on the maybe cartoony side. I don't want to be too harsh, but still a little bit. But I think they've made improvements there. And there's other improvements as well. Obviously, I think the game engine has been improved. I don't think it's a completely new engine, but I think they've rewritten large parts of it. They've obviously made improvements to the handling model, the tyre model specifically, is what I heard, and also the suspension is running now at I think it's 120 hertz. I think it is. So there's a lot more detail in that and the movement of it. Still a few niggles here and there. One big niggle for me, obviously, we're not going to have the active driver market, but another one that just seems a bit bizarre to me is no VR. I'm not quite sure why. I think VR, just my humble opinion, VR is made for racing games, and this is an ongoing franchise. PSVR isn't something new. It's been out since, I think it was late 2016, I think it was. So, didn't have it last year. I thought this year would have been a prime candidate to get PSVR. It didn't. I think it would be absolutely perfect on this game. Absolutely amazing. But again, they have decided that it is not to be. The other returning features from the previous games, we've got classic cars again, and they've added 7 new cars to this one. And we can take a look at them, actually. So we've got the classic cars. So we've got all of the cars from last season's game, 2017, but we've also got some new ones. So we've got the Lotus 72D. We've got the 1976 Ferrari 312 T2. This is the one, if my memory is right, this is the one where the car that Niki Lauda crashed spectacularly at the Nürburgring and suffered those horrific burns. And we've got obviously James Hunt's 1976 championship-winning McLaren from the same season as Niki Lauda's crash there. We've got the 1978 Lotus 79, another fantastic car. This gave birth and rise to ground effects, if memory serves me correctly. We've also got the 1979 Ferrari 312 T4. We've got the 1982 MP4 1B. I believe this is the car that this featured the very first carbon fiber monocoque. So this pretty much kicked off what would be the modern era of Formula One in terms of what the cars have built and made from. So this is a pretty historic car as well. We've got obviously, and then every other car is just the ones we've had previously. We've got the MP44. Greatest car ever made in Formula One, in my opinion. The 91 MP46. We've got Nigel Mansell's title-winning 92 Ferrari. We've got the last of the great V12s, the 95 Ferrari 412 T2. Damon Hill's title-winning car, the FW18. Mick Häkkinen's 98 championship-winning car, the MP413. We've got Schumacher's championship-winning car. A lot of championship-winning cars. We've got the F2002. This is another new one. Sorry. Apologies. The Williams FW25. I believe this is the car that won Pablo Montoya set the fastest qualifying lap ever in terms of average speed around Monza, if memory serves correctly. If I'm wrong, of course, let me know in the comments. F2004, Renault R26, the 2007 Ferrari, the 2008 McLaren, which Lewis Hamilton won his title in. We've also got now a new one, the 2009 Brawn GP, the BGP. -001. This is what Jenson Button drove to title success in 2009. Then, of course, we've got the 2010 Red Bull rounding out the classic cars there. So yeah, a lot of classic car content. Disappointing that there isn't any classic tracks. We did, when they first brought classic cars to this game, we did have a classic track. I think it was Jerez, I believe it was. So it would have been nice to see some classic circuits, one or maybe two. Personal preference, Adelaide. That would be on my list. But yeah, so a little bit disappointing to not see that. But what we're going to do though is, rather than talking about how this game could have improved and where it may have improved and so on, let's go find out how it's improved by going for a little drive. So we're going to go for a Grand Prix, and shall we go Sauber and McLaren? Sauber and McLaren. We'll go with McLaren for this one. We'll pick Fernando because he's obviously due to depart, so let's just enjoy Fernando as long as we can. And I think we'll try the new Paul Ricard circuit. I've never actually ran this circuit before. I've obviously seen the race. I wasn't too thrilled when it was put on the calendar, but it actually turned out to be a pretty good race overall. I've already set up some of this bits and bobs here, so that's fine. That's all fine as well. How is that? Time of day. We'll clear and we'll go midday for that one. So yeah, we're going to go for a little 5-lap race around here. We're going to see what's what and see how it feels. So I'm going to jump down to the track and we'll get this thing kicked off and see what F1 2018 drives are like. Okay then, guys, so here we are on the grid, and also, in addition to this being the first time I've run Paul Ricard, it's also going to be the first time I've run any sort of racing game or car with the actual So here we are then, guys, on the grid for the start. We're starting in P7 in Fernando Alonso's McLaren, of course. And in addition to this being the first time I've ever run Paul Ricard, this will also be the first time I've ever ran any sort of game with the Halo on. So it's obviously divided opinion, and there is obviously the option in the actual menu section where you can remove that center pillar there, so to make visibility a little bit easier if you would like to. But I've decided to keep it as it is for the moment, just to keep it as authentic as possible and to see what it is like. But yeah, so like I said, it's going to be a 5-lap race around here, and yeah, let's jump straight into it and see what we can do. Okay then, guys, here we go. Not a brilliant start. A lot of wheel spin. Oh, we're already getting bumped. We go into turn 1. Ooh, got into it with Verstappen, and again we're getting bumped. And I've heard other reviewers say this, that the AI are very punchy, very aggressive. We've got a Red Bull behind us. Might have to start going defensive already. Going to saunter past us. Now we might be able to have a chance to get back at him. Up the inside. Way too deep into there. You ran a bit wide on the exit. I've got a pretty good exit out of there this time. Well, I think we've got a Red Bull getting closer and closer. Is Max going to have a big dive? Might have cut the corner just a little bit there. We've got Ricciardo and at least one of the Ferraris up ahead. Streaking away. Okay. Again, got way too deep into that corner.
You can use it when within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone.
Oh, that wasn't clean. And already I've noticed that my force feedback has got a little bit soft. So, had the same problem in GT Sport where the early build and bloody Max Verstappen. Well, yeah, with the early build of GT Sport, it just wound. It just had the force feedback in my steering wheel just working way too hard, and it just obviously it dials back how much force feedback you're getting to protect itself. Right then, so we've got 2 laps to go. Oh, terrible through there. Really dislike turn 1 and 2. Well, turn 2 isn't too bad, but you've got to get turn 1 pretty much on the button, and it's such a fast corner, but it's not as fast as it looks, if that makes sense. Also, it's kind of tricky to see the apex as well, so it's one of those corners where you've got to properly commit. You've got to turn in and that's it. And if you can't see the apex, it makes it very, very difficult. So, going to need more practice on this particular circuit. So, Verstappen's scampering away at the minute. Got a 2.5 second gap to our countryman, Carlos Sainz. Still can't figure out turn the last corner.
Final lap of the race. Gap to teammate behind is 4.6.
So I've turned the ARS up. And I'll go to a rich fuel mix as well. I don't think we're going to catch Verstappen. I think he's way too far up the road. This track just got so many of those corners, those wide entry, very late apex corners that really put a lot of load through the tyres. They're very tricky. This one more than the other two because it leads into a very, very slow, like 100-degree right-hander. And there we go. So we started 7th and we finished 7th. So it wasn't the. It was a very, very enjoyable race. First impressions from that first race. The AI are very punchy, very, very punchy. So in previous games where it just be a case that if you show them just the slightest hint that you may be looking to the inside, they would pretty much jump out the way, whether you're alongside or not. But this time it looks like they're very much content to turn in on you and, you know, force you wide, etc, etc, etc. So that's very good. I'm really enjoying that because you're going to have some real ding-dong battles with the AI, because I think that was one of the things that annoyed me about the AI sometimes. You know, they'd have a pretty decent position in terms of where they are on track, and you just show them just a little hint that you're going to go to the inside of them, and they're saying, okay, you can have it. Oh, I don't want to fight, mate. I don't want any trouble. So that's really good. Yeah, I mean, overall, the feel of it was very good. And like I said, my force feedback dulled partway through that race. So, like I said, I had the same problem with GT Sport when it first came out, where it was maybe putting a bit too much power through the force feedback engine. So, whether it's just a case of adjusting the settings or whatever, I mean, it feels okay. It feels like it's a decent amount of weight in the wheel. It feels pretty much dead on to me for what I would want, but I'm probably going to have to wind it down a bit just to make sure it doesn't cook my wheel. But yeah, I mean, overall, very, very good. Very, very impressed. Like I said, it looks a lot better than it did last year. It seemingly drives a lot better than last year. The on-track action, the AI are much improved. That's probably the biggest improvement. I mean, in terms of career mode, there's obviously lots of other bits and bobs that we'll get into, because I am starting a career mode series in the next couple of days. And I mean, the main things from that, obviously, contract negotiations are a big thing. They've made improvements to the upgrade portion of the game, how you upgrade the car and gain points for that, and to make upgrades and so on and so forth. And interviews are back as well, which again adds a little extra facet in terms of how you approach interviews, depending on what you say to the interviewer in terms of the answers to their questions. That could dictate where your career goes, what teams and what opportunities become available. So I'm really looking forward to getting into a career mode series, and I really enjoyed that race there in particular. It was very, very good. So yeah, guys, that's Formula 1 2018, my first impressions, and that's the end of today's video. So thank you everybody so much for watching. If you did enjoy this, you would like to see more Formula 1 2018 or just general racing content from myself, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. Also, let me know in the comments, guys, are you planning to get this game? Have you got it yet? If you have, what do you like? If you haven't got it or you're not getting it, why aren't you getting it? Is there any particular reason? Let me know in the comments, guys. Always happy to hear from you. But once again, thank you everybody so much for watching. Stay cool, and as always, I will catch you in the next video, where I'll be kicking off my career mode series. Peace.